What up, fam? It's your favorite cousin, your favorite nephew, your favorite uncle, your favorite father, your favorite son, your best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry, and welcome to Living For You, the YouTube channel. This is a safe space, a positive place in which we come together, we gather together, we learn together, and we grow together in a healthy fashion. We're all about mental health, spiritual health, physical health, and just being a complete whole person. So to my loyal, faithful subscribers who've been there from day one, hey family, you know I love you. You're my heart. Thank you for your continued support. To those of you who are recent subscribers, welcome to the family. You are part of the family now. And this is a safe space. This is a good and positive place on the internet. Y'all know these internet streets could be pretty brutal at times. And this is a place you can come and you can just relax and you can be 100% yourself, and we will accept and love and want you to be better and better and better and better as I'm on this journey with you. So welcome. Those of you who watch all the time, because I got a lot of watch time, but not as many to me subscribers matching my watch time. So those of you who are watching but not subscribed, why don't you just go ahead and subscribe to the channel? I mean, seriously though, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I mean, why not? Anyway, for those of you who have never seen me, those of you who never heard of me, I am Dr. Larry Smith. I am a certified life and a spiritual coach. I refer to myself as a spiritualist. And that just simply means that I believe that it is important for us to connect to our spirit, to ground ourselves into something bigger and larger and beyond our human existence. Because there's so much more in the unseen world, possibly more in the unseen world than the seen world. So it's important for us to at least acknowledge that as part of what's going on around us. So if you've never seen me, you can actually go find out more about me at www.liveforyoucoaching.com. That is my business, my life coaching business, spiritual coaching business is Live For You Coaching. That website again is www.liveforyoucoaching.com. You can find out a lot about me. You can actually go out there and take courses on things to help you get through a trauma. I specialize in helping people heal from trauma. So you can go out and take courses on that. There are free resources out there that you can use to just kind of boost your confidence, like the Positive Me worksheet that's out there. You can also sign up for one-on-one coaching sessions with yours truly, this guy, Dr. Larry Smith. You can do that as well out there. We can schedule you an appointment, even give you a mini session, 30-minute session for free. So why not go out there and try all of that great stuff at www.liveforyoucoaching.com. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm very active on social media. I post, I comment, I share, I like. I do all of these different things with many popular social media influencers as well as my own stuff. So you can go and follow me at Dr. Larry Smith on Instagram and on Facebook. It should be somewhere right here on the screen, no doubt. So Dr. Larry Smith on Instagram and on Facebook. Anyway, you guys know that I've been doing my little, I guess you would say series at this point. But it's not really a series, but it is a series of which I've been randomly drawing my stones, my crystals. And I've been deciding to talk about specific crystals, whichever one I pull, and give a little insight onto it so that you guys know a little bit more about it. So let's draw a crystal. Shake it up a little bit. Get a good one. Alright, let's see. Alright. This is a good one. This is the crystal. Hopefully you can see it. If you can't really see it that well, I'm going to actually just put a picture of it. This is actually yellow Adventurine. Let me put these down. Yellow Adventurine. And it's actually a pretty cool crystal. There's many components to it, many things to it. It's actually a crystal that's rarely found across the world, but it is one of the more commonly found ones in the places that it is actually found. It is associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is like right here. And that's the chakra of wisdom. That's the chakra of power. This crystal is a good crystal for when you want to meditate on being more confident in who you are. It's a good one when you want to meditate on being confident. At least that's how the Romans and the Greeks and others use this crystal. It's also a good crystal when you want to heal certain things like inflammation and like certain physical characteristics like sinuses and things that you're trying to heal. This is a good crystal. Yellow Adventurine is good for that. But it's also good for when it comes to accepting the ever so changing world around you. There's a lot of fear in accepting the world around on a lot of people. I was myself that way at one point, and crystals like yellow Adventurine actually was really good in helping me get that confidence and that ability to accept the changing world around us. So that's actually what I want to talk about in relation to our crystal. You guys know I pull a crystal, I tell you a little bit about the components to the crystal, and then of course, at least for the metaphysical, spiritual, and physical stuff, and then I talk about it. So talk around something about it. And so that was something it was actually good that I pulled this crystal, and maybe that was the universe moving because it was something that was in my heart to discuss. Change. Change is inevitable. There is nothing you're going to do about it. You're not going to stop change. You're not going to inhibit change. As long as you are living and breathing, change is going to happen. And there's just nothing you can do about it. But there are so many people who have deep-seated fear about the ever so changing world. And I mean to tell you, this world is changing, and it is changing at a fast pace. It's very, very interesting to me, right? I can go back 20 years of my life, and there are things that exist today in the public realm, in the private sector, and all around me that would have never seen the light of day or anywhere near the light of day 20 years ago. It's coming to my mind and my heart, for example, to mention Lil Nas X. Now, you guys may not know this, or probably can't even tell this from me just by looking at me, but I'm an avid hip-hop fan. I've been a hip-hop head ever since the early 90s, the EPMD, the KRS-Ones, the Rakim, the LL Cool J, the Busta Rhymes, the Eric Sermon and Rakim, Eric Sermon, I say Rakim, Eric Sermon and Redman, and all of these different people, Method Man, Killer Bees, Wu-Tang, Tupac, Biggie. I've been always a fan of hip-hop music. Why? Because I've always been an intellectual type of individual, but my intellect and my passion for academia has always centered around social studies, history, sociology, and things like that. And so I've always been interested in the people, if you want to say that, my people, specifically people who look like me. But I've also been interested in the stories of people all over the world and their unique experiences. And music has a way of doing that. And hip-hop, in my lifetime, seemed to be the music that was most in touch with what's going on in my life as a youth, growing up, speaking my experiences, and putting it to music. And so I grew to appreciate it for what I saw it was. Now, not everybody understood it. Adults, my parents, my grandparents thought it was crap, thought it was garbage. But for me, it was my generation's way of telling our story. And you can go back to the 1920s and the Harlem Renaissance and all of the great writers like Gertrude Stein wasn't a writer, but she was kind of like a mediator for like a lot of great art. The F. Scott Fitzgeralds and the William Faulkners and the Hemingways and all of the people telling the stories. And then, of course, the Harlem Renaissance with the Langston Hugheses and the Zora Neale Hurstons and the Claude McKays and all these people, were telling their story of their lives from their time. And for me, my generation's storytellers were the hip-hop rappers, the rap artists. And hip-hop has taken such kind of it's been on this interesting trajectory. And we all know, I think we know, that hip-hop is the #1 music across the world. Everywhere you go, hip-hop, rap, people listen to it. It's there. It wasn't always that case when it first started. And it has taken many iterations and it has grown. You've gotten dance hip-hop, you've had trap music, which was in the streets. You have drill music, which is in like places like Chicago and Detroit. You have, just the list goes on. Go-go music in places like D.C. and Virginia, and you got the Miami bass sound, and you got the Atlanta bass, strip club bass, sound, and you got all of this different stuff. Trap, by the way, was also an Atlanta thing as well. and bounce music in general, like in New Orleans. So you got so many different varieties of what's categorized as hip-hop. And Lil Nas X is coming with a new take for a modern time. Now, first of all, we know he's an openly gay man, and that was already a rarity in hip-hop. There was a lot of misogyny, there was a lot of homophobia, there was a lot of anything other than the stereotypical patriarchal system and the black male image in hip-hop. That was a part of it. That had always been a part of it. And now Lil Nas X is coming and shattering that perception of hip-hop. Because all hip-hop at this point now is hip-hop, if you really want to be honest. Whether it's Drake, whether it's Future, whether it's the Migos, whether it's Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, or Lil Nas X, it's not necessarily what hip-hop was back in the day. And so there's some backlash, there's some pushback, we can't accept these changes because it's not what we're always used to. But that's the point, right? Humanity evolves. We are not who we used to be. We are not where we used to be. People's experiences are different. When I was younger, and we're talking in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, when I was younger and growing into myself listening to hip-hop, the majority of the black population, and I do mean the majority, historically, black population, were impoverished or in difficult life circumstances, whether it was being raised in the projects or being raised in tough neighborhoods around high crime and drugs and all. I mean, we were knee-high in the midst of the whole massive war on drugs and the crack cocaine epidemic and all of these other things that were existing within our communities at that time. And so when hip-hop was speaking, it was speaking to that experience. It was speaking about that experience. So an impoverished people speak about poverty, speak about the hard life. But what happens when the quality of living or the standard of living for everybody has risen? So now you got more black millionaires. You look at Jay-Z. Jay-Z is the perfect example of the evolving person. When Jay-Z first came out, 92, 93, when he was rapping about stealing, rapping about selling drugs, trapping, working in the hood, being a drug dealer, and all this other stuff. Now Jay-Z can't rap about that stuff because that's not true to who he is. He is a billionaire. He has a wonderful life. He just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So he's no longer where he was. And the way he moves shows that he's a different person. He's evolved. He's evolved into the man who he is, which to me is a model of what we all could be. We don't have to stay where we were. We don't have to live in an unforgiving state of just stuck in our trauma. We can grow beyond our trauma and be successful and be whole and be happy and pay it forward and pass it down to the youth. That's what I do. I went to college and did all this stuff. Now I give back. I give back. I became an educator to give back so that I know I give to some little boy who was like me the knowledge and the visual that you don't have to stay there because that's just temporary. But it is important for grounding you. It does give you a sense of truth for who you are, but at the end of the day, it's not who you are forever. And we have to get hold of change. I always say it's a lot easier to work with change or be a change agent than it is to try to be a person to stop it. Because you're not going to stop it. And whenever you're working in a place of trying to stop change, you're going to be uncomfortable. Why? Because you're going against the way the world and life and the universe and all of that works. You're operating stagnant when reality, life is constantly moving and going and going and going and going. And being stagnant is being stuck. Kind of like in a tornado, right? Like if you think about it in terms of visual, if you stand still in a tornado, you might not be moving, you might not be doing anything, but you're definitely going places because that tornado is taking you. Maybe the places you don't want to be, and it's a very uncomfortable experience. And that's what not accepting change is. We have to embrace change. And I know it's harder for us to do because there's comfort in what we know, right? There's comfort in our past histories. There's comfort in our past stories. There's comfort in knowing the people we know and we've always known, and knowing the places that we've always known, and the comfortability and security of already having expectations, I get that. But at the end of the day, that's just not a realistic perception of life. You look around and you see people, all things changing. People don't want to hear more about race, even though we're in a time period where the racial animosities are high, and they've always been high. But now people are willing to talk about them. People are pushing back on that. People don't want to talk about the different types of gender and gender expression that are out there, that have always been out there. But now more people are wanting to come forward and be more of themselves. Yes, yellow Adventurine. Be more of themselves and be confident in being themselves. And so now we have to have the conversations to everybody. Man, woman, and child, old and young, it doesn't matter. The conversations have to happen, and we get to a place in society in which conversations have to happen. But that is the nature of change. You can't say, okay, I'm not going to change. I don't accept this. This is what it is. No, you should be saying, okay, I embrace this change. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it is difficult, but we must embrace it. So let me learn about it so that I can discuss it in a healthy way so that I can tell other people, especially if you have children. Your children depend on you for information. So if you're giving them information based out of fear, based out of phobia, based out of hatred, based out of inability to move forward, you might not be the good example for them. You want to teach your kids that there are many things that exist in life. There are many people, many perspectives that exist in life. You can have yours, but don't allow yours to try to inhibit anybody else's freedom to express themselves as they are. You embrace change and you just go with it. It's best to go with the current than to try to go against the current. You guys know I say that a lot. Why? Because I was a person who was afraid to move forward in life. I was paralysis. It was kind of evolutionary paralysis, if you want to call it that, if you want to give it a name. Evolutionary paralysis, in which I was afraid to move forward and to grow forward. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't growing, and it doesn't mean that life around me wasn't changing. I just was not willing to accept it, and that was a hard life to live. That was a hard life to live. You have to embrace change. It is what it is. You can use your yellow yellow Adventurine energy to embrace change. Change is good. Change is positive. Growth is good. Growth is positive. Learning new things is good. Learning new things is positive. Do not be afraid to change, because at the end of the day, no matter how hard-headed, no matter how tough you stand on what you believe, no matter how hard you try to hold on to what was, change is inevitable. You're not going to be able to escape it. So you might as well embrace it. That's it. That's it. That's all. Get you some yellow Adventurine. You know, if you're looking for some confidence and ability to embrace change, there's so many other properties that you can Google. This stuff is Googleable. I just happened to learn it because I studied a little bit of it when I was studying for my, doctorate. I studied a little bit about the mystic arts and, crystals and things. And I find them to be very interesting, just for many properties and many reasons. But that's what we talked about: change, embracing change. Change is inevitable. You guys know I love you. It's an honor for me to sit up here, and I want our family to keep growing and growing and growing to be 1 million, 2 million, 10 million. We can do it. It's totally possible, because there is a place in your heart and a place online for positivity. As I always say, I love you all with the highest love, and I will see you in the next video.